Recently on my YouTube channel I showed this fake Angry Birds toy, and it was basically little Angry Birds that chased themselves up this ladder here and then went running down on a ramp. I also showed a little RC helicopter, and it's quite a novel little device. I tried to kill it and it somehow survived my shocking flying and a number of very serious crashes. Unfortunately that toy there lasted one day. I took it inside and my son played with it, and well, not to my surprise but to his, the thing stopped working. And to show you how it's not working, it's very simple. I'll turn it on. We're going to hear the horrid sounds that it makes, and it's doing its flashing lights, but the part that makes the birds go up the ramp here has stopped working. Let's turn it off, and also let's be reminded this is a toy which is not licensed by Angry Birds, but because it's failed on me within a day, there's really not much I can do. But how does it make me feel about Angry Birds? This is one of the big funny conundrums of these types of toys, and it would seem that Angry Birds are very well relaxed in allowing these sorts of toys to get around having this brand name on them. I'm very curious as to why this toy has failed, and I really want to get this going again because my son absolutely loves seeing those little birds doing their thing.
I better throw this title up on this educational video because there are some processes in this fix which should be done by a competent adult.
It's a pretty simple toy to pull apart, it's a pretty simple toy to assemble, and we're going to have to open it up inside to find out what's going on. Well, I've got the ramp here. The birds would normally run up here and do their thing. I can see there's a screw here. I found another screw hiding under the sticker right next to the battery compartment. Very sneaky. I've got two screws out. I can start to pry this toy open. Boy, this feels cheap. Just found another hidden screw just above the tunnel where the birds shoot through. Hidden under the sticker again. I just found another one right at the top of the ladder climb, right at the top of this toy. Under the sticker again. Just down from the very top of the toy, there's another screw there. I'm finding them all over the place now. And also found one right at the bottom of the toy on the opposite end of the battery compartment. There's another screw there. She's starting to come apart. Well, there's quite a few sneaky little screws in this toy, and like Aladdin's cave, we'll have a look at the treasures inside. Okay, here's the business end of this toy. Obviously there's a battery package there. Notice I'm using non-branded batteries. It only gets angst in people if I put Duracells in there. I think that's a driver for the LEDs. I'm not an electronics wizard. I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm totally wrong, which I always am. There's a motor hidden behind there, and there'd be a gearbox there. And this thing is meant to be spinning. There's lots of lube on this. I wonder what lube they used. And normally that would be shoveling or pushing that clear plastic piece up and down. If I turn it on, you'll see it's not working. Oh, but it's so noisy! It must have been Lubrication Friday. Look at the lube on that piece there. That ramp piece easily pulls out, I hope. There she goes. And the piece we're going to want to look inside is here, where the motor is, meant to be powering this, but it's not. And also notice, if you look very carefully, we've got screws that are already partially undone. Thank you, China. It's interesting here that the speaker is mounted on the back of the battery pack, and the wires lead back to that little board there, so I suppose it's a sound chip as well that gives that Angry Birds theme. And if you're at all fearful of pulling things apart, the best thing to do to relieve you of your fear is take a few photographs or video of the thing you're pulling apart, and you can refer back to that if you need it to be reminded on how to put it back together. Okay, that little motor and gearbox has fallen out of the device. It's quite light, it's quite cheap, and what is very interesting, if I turn it on, it seems to work again. But if I put any resistance against that wheel, it stops. So I'd say there's something stripped or possibly not screwed on properly on that wheel. Well, having a very close look at this wheel on this gearbox, I can't see a screw in the center of the hub there, and what I will do is I'll try and slide it off, and I see it comes off really easily. And I think we're starting to see the root of the problem here. Well, there's the shaft that comes out of that motor and gearbox, and you can see there's some splines on that shaft, and that would be to key into the wheel that was there. And it's pretty obvious that they are not doing their job. It's stripped, so we're going to have to come in and do a little bit of a repair. What I should do is just turn this on. It's going to get noisy. And just see if we've got power. Yeah, that shaft is good. I can't make that shaft stop, so the problem lies on that join of the wheel going onto that shaft. What I'm going to do is get all the grease and lube off this wheel, and also get all the grease away from the spline on that motor. Okay, here's the wheel all cleaned up, and remember this is a key component of this toy to make it work. And if we look on the other side, we start to see the seed of the problem. And if you look very, very carefully in the middle there, get my little probe in, there's a crack in this piece, and that is the flaw in why our toy has stopped working. I'm going to spray some second bulb cleaner in that crack there. I want to get all of the gooby, gunky stuff I had on this toy out of that crack. And I'm thinking, maybe apply some heat to it to try and, I don't know, meld it back together again. Or maybe some glue. It's a tricky one to fix when it's like this. I'm going to put a bit of heat on it, but I'm also going to protect this piece with some aluminium tape, because I don't want the heat to go along and destroy the piece. It's a bit risky when you're heating up plastic. It can be affected far more than you ever wanted it to be. Because all I want to do is try and, well, seal up the crack there. And what's also nice, I can build a little handle with tape here, so I can hold it while I'm putting the heat on this section here. Well, I've got a tiny little hot blue flame, and I'm working down through a camera, so that makes it even harder for me. And I don't want to melt that completely, I just want to try and do a bit of a union there, if that's possible. If anything, I don't mind if it shrinks the hole a bit. That's going to help me when I go to glue it back onto the shaft. It's tricky work. I probably better leave it at that. And it's funny, I came in and looked on the other side and noticed that that crack is quite extensive. It shows on the other side as well. I'm a glutton for punishment here. I'm going to try and come in and do something with that crack. Hopefully without destroying the piece. Probably totally wasting my time here. I'm not a plastics welder. Probably enough. I think less is more in this sort of stuff. And the mini blowtorch would normally have a soldering iron or head there. It normally heats that up, but I've taken that off and it becomes a mini blowtorch. It's just one of those. And I'll take my silver tape off to see what crazy damage I've done. And it's one of these things, remember, I'm fixing a knockoff toy, a $20 toy. And considering the time that it's taken me to work this out, I would have been better off just going down to the shops and buying another one. So the hot work I did has closed the hole up. I'm going to have to come and re-drill that, and the best way to find out the size I need is measure that shaft there. Bring the verniers in. It's about a 2mm hole I need. I picked the drill bit, which is a little bit under 2mm. Straight through and straight out. If I come in and try to put on my fried up wheel, see how it feels. Oh, it feels nice and tight. It feels very good indeed. That's a nice feel, nice interference fit. And I think I'm going to use some glue in this as well. And like all these cheap toys, they always break at the weakest link, so if it goes again, I dare say it's going to break on this point because there's nowhere else for it to give. But that's gone on and it feels really good. And what I'll do is I'm going to put some really, really fine super glue, the thinnest I can get, in there as well. Just before I do that, let's turn it on. You won't hear me now. See if there's any resistance. It feels good. It feels very good. Okay, I'm going to come in for the dollop super glue. I'm working down through my camera lens, so it's very difficult to see. And this is one of these things there, less is more. It's really fine stuff, and it's going to seep down into that spline. What I'll do is I'll let this dry naturally. I'll let it seep into the area of the spline and the plastic. Don't zip kick it, don't force dry that, because I want this to be a good bond in the places where it gets into. And hopefully by the next time you look in this table, the toy will be back assembled and operating. Okay, it's the moment of truth. Let's give it a spin. There they go. They're on their way up. There's going to be a little boy inside who's going to be very, very happy that this toy is up and running again. I think I can come and turn this off and have one final word to say about this non-licensed toy. That's the gamble you take when you buy this stuff. It may seem like a massive temptation to buy something cheap, and Angry Birds, it only cost me $20, but it only lasted a day, and it took me some time to repair it. Most people wouldn't be bothered, it'd be straight in the bin. Anyway, I hope you've learned something from this video. I certainly have, and thank you very much for watching. Let's fly the bird! Whoa, it's a pretty good start. We've got to go back for that first challenge again near the ceiling fan. Oh, the back of the TV, not again. No, oh, it's coming for me. It's coming for me. No, no, move. Oh, we're very high. Oh, we're very low. We're going back. We're going back. Oh, no. Where are we going? Oh, no. The ceiling fan. Not the ceiling fan, please. What about the first challenge?